Hey guys, welcome back. Hopefully everyone is doing all right after that ridiculous market sell-off we had today. Today I want to do something I haven't done in a while, and that's actually dive into a ticker a little bit more than just review my trades on it. And that ticker we're going to talk about today is Coin, because me and that ticker have quite a long history. But right before we talk about Coin, I want to say big thank you guys to everyone that's been on the Fast Track program. I had 3 more calls with you guys, and it's just been super insightful, not just am I learning where you guys are currently at in your trading career, some of the biggest hurdles you guys are going through right now. I'm getting to know you guys personally, which is really, really nice. And I think the longer you're part of, or the longer you're a trader specifically, because, we do all our work online, the more you realize having a community that you can work with, kind of mentor each other back and forth, grow with, is just super, super important. And that's why over the last few, I would say like year and a half, I've really put more and more priority into this community that we have here, and I just value it so much. So big thank you for everyone that's taking part of the Fast Track program to do these one-on-one trading barrier breakthrough calls. It's just been a really good time. Now let's get back to Coinbase, because this ticker, man, I just can't get it right with this ticker. Let me go to my trading screen here, and what I have pulled up right here is one of my first trades on Coin, and this is a little bit after they IPO'd. Let me just show you guys how ridiculous this trade was. Can you see it on the trading screen? Yeah, okay, you can see it. So I did a lower entry after their IPO. Where was that IPOs? Let me go down here. Let's see, that was around, IPO'd right around here. So that, no, actually the fake news, actually IPO'd up here. So I don't even know what price that was. That was like what, 375 or something. It was oversubscribed, so it IPO'd higher than it was originally going to IPO for. Then it popped up a ridiculous amount, over 400, and then it's been selling off. And then I had my first entry below the IPO price, thinking I was a genius. Anyway, this ticker kept on selling off, and I kept on buying, getting a full position size. I sold some and then rebought here. This was actually a really good rebuy. Basically, I sold pre-market, and then it opened up, sold off, I rebought, and then, that was a little good way to reduce my cost average. Eventually, the price came back up here, and I basically sold it for break even. That's what happened with this ticker. And this was a pretty big position size, around $36,000. So, only taking about a $1,500 loss isn't really the end of the world at all, especially with that big position size. So I kind of got out for what feels like a scratch based on how much I was down at one point. Now, I have started to buy Coin again, which a little bit too soon, but I haven't reached my full position size yet. A little bit frustrating. We'll talk about that in a second. I got to say, though, first, now, I don't know if you guys watch the All In podcast. It's really, really good. It's these 4 besties. Let's see here. Did they list all the names? I don't think so. I don't think I could recall all their names. Shamath, you guys probably know Shamath. He's really big with SPACs, and well, all of his SPACs are not doing so hot right now. David Sachs, Freebird, and Jay Cal right here, who is the host of the All In podcast. Really good. Anyway, well, what was this, 2 weeks ago or so, 3 weeks ago, they brought in Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase. And here you can see it. Here's Shamath, really excited.
Hey Armstrong, what's up, bro?
What's up?
How are you?
Good to see you.
It's good to see.
So if you guys don't watch the All In podcast, I highly recommend it. I watch it every week. It's quite informative, and it makes you do a lot of research. I always dive into rabbit holes after I listen to the All In podcast. So really nice. Anyway, it was nice hearing from Brian Armstrong talk a little bit about the insides of their company a little bit more. And one thing he actually went ahead and talked about that I was not aware of, but it clearly seems to be a really big issue in corporate America, and I think a lot of people kind of get a little bit of exposure to this, is right now corporate America is quite involved in politics, for better or worse. That's a whole different argument we're not even going to have right now, but Brian Armstrong was talking about lately, or back in the day before the IPO, they were having a lot of issues where they were a little bit soft on their employees, and there was a lot of open debate going on, political issues, and they were getting really off focus. And that's what they were talking about in this in this All In podcast here. So it was basically mission focused versus political and woke focus, more or less. Really good conversation here, and they talked about how they solved that issue, which again I'm not really going to dive into, but basically they basically took a step back, said, okay, let's focus on the mission statement and stop all these kind of open discussions because it's really counterproductive to the work environment. I really liked what was going on there. I liked their solutions. I liked how they fixed it. And it seems like a lot of other companies are having this problem nowadays. So this is just a little bit of pre-dialogue before we talk in the price to get to learn the company a little bit more. I'm sure all you guys, or many of you guys like myself, use Coinbase as a brokerage. Now, so if you haven't watched the All In podcast, guys, I highly recommend checking it out. It's really, really good. Now, let's actually check out their stock price. Yeah, whew, this thing is, it only goes in one direction, is sure what it feels like. Now, I'm a big fan of Web 3.0. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's going to keep growing. And I think Coinbase is going to be one of those companies that's really going to take center stage at one point because they're really not just an exchange. They're really working on becoming, I feel like I just said really a lot in a row. They're working on becoming a infrastructure, a little bit like AWS, Amazon Web Services, but for Web 3.0. And that's what I really like about them. They're working really close with the government. So if the government ever makes a digital stablecoin, I feel like Coinbase is going to be involved. So there's a lot of good stuff going on with Coinbase, but clearly they IPO'd too high. Now, if we scroll down here, their market cap right now is at 31.4, roughly 31.5 billion. So it's shrank ridiculously. And, I'm getting to that point where I'm starting to like it again. I was sizing up here a little bit. I started doing some of my first entries around 160, and I bought a little bit more today when it was after that 13% sell-off. It sold off so much today. It was insane. Actually, let's just go to the daily chart here for a second and show you guys. Today we had just a total wash. And now I'm thinking, okay, well, this is tough for me because I'm a momentum trader, which is basically like trend following. All I'm doing, I'm not trying to predict anything. I'm just following the market as long as I can. And that's it. And it works really well. Let me just quickly show you guys for anyone that's totally new to this channel. So I have my day trading momentum portfolio here, which you can just check out my stats. I've been doing this portfolio for a little bit over a year and a half, getting close to 2 years now. We started small and now we're starting to really start sizing, but we're not that big yet. I mean, let me zoom out here. My average position size is still pretty small, only $6.7 thousand. So the return on those is pretty good. But look at this. I just want to quickly mention here, 6,000 trades, and this is my profit. So it's something that you have the system, it works, you follow the market as long as you can. When it no longer works, you stop trading for the day. It's pretty much that simple. The hard part is, getting your emotions in the way. Now, my problem is is swing trading. I have a hard time swing trading because it's not necessarily as simple, especially if you start trying to put in some fundamentals. It gets really, really slippery. Now, the thing is, and I want to start making a little bit more videos on this, I want to start making a bit of a dividend portfolio, a bit of a passive income portfolio. Now, Coinbase is not a dividend paying stock. So there's a problem. But I don't want to own like AT&T with their 7% dividend. I'm just not a big fan of AT&T. So what do? Well, I could get into crypto and do staking, which I do, but that's again another topic. What I could do though for like a high flyer like Coin, a ticker that I want to hold long term for a couple of years, is selling covered calls. This is a strategy we had a phone call with that we talked about. We learned a lot about it with somebody in our Discord community who's really successful with selling covered calls. And what you could do with selling covered calls is basically collect premium as like a quote unquote dividend from a stock consistently, and you're just selling at a high strike price that hopefully will never be executed. And if it does get executed, it doesn't really matter because you can always buy it back. And hopefully that doesn't mess up your tax strategy if you're just trading in a Roth IRA. So for me personally, I would be doing this in my unlimited margin account, not my Roth IRA at first. Maybe at one point I would switch over, but that's, again, a bit of a different topic. So there's so many different topics to cover here. This is why I could talk about finance all day. But anyway, now a company like Coin, as a trend follower, as a momentum trader, I'm like, this is clearly a downwards trend. Now it is in a falling wedge, and those do tend to break to the upside. But there's no reason to assume that, especially in a market that is, falling off a cliff. And let's just be really clear here. If we go back to the weekly chart and we go, let's say, to draw, I don't have my broker open right now, but we'll just use FinViz. It definitely gets the job done. This company is from its highs. It's down 74%. it could go down 80%, 90%. You just don't know, especially in one of these recessions. So, now I'm thinking here like, oh, did I buy too soon again? And trust me, any comments you guys have, leave them below. I'd be happy to hear what you guys think about Coin, and with their price and what do you think long term about this company. I'll definitely respond to all those projections or predictions. But here's my scenario, right? As a day trader, I don't really want to day trade Coin. It's not really something that is very tradable in my opinion for my strategy. And then swing trading, it's not like an amazing strategy. You might want to be like, okay, maybe there's some support here, start accumulating, sell into a pop. So that's an option. But what I want to do is I just want to keep averaging into this one as it was a long-term time horizon. The problem is if you're selling covered calls, you don't want to be selling covered calls on a stock that just keeps going down. You pretty much want to do it on the exact opposite of a company like Coin. So it's probably not the right time to start doing it. Unfortunately, I already did accumulate a little bit, so I think if there's a little bit of a push up, I might actually close the position with the intent of rebuying. Haven't really fully figured it out yet, and that's why I'm making this video, to share my opinion of where I think Coin is going. Now, let's go back to this $31.5 billion market cap. What I really like to do is try to compare as much as I can to other brokers. And there is another broker that you guys probably all know of called Binance. And Binance, if we scroll down here, has a market cap of right here, well, there, $62 billion. So it's twice the size. Kind of interesting. Now, I do want to note that the volume on Binance is many multiples of Coinbase. Here's the volume, the 24-hour volume of Binance, and here's the 24-hour volume of Coinbase. So Binance is getting a lot more traction. The thing is, Binance is international, like Coinbase is primarily in the USA, and they have a lot of these other things going on for them. So that's really something I really want to point out. Now, maybe Coinbase can get there because they want to start expanding more internationally. They already opened their NFT platform marketplace to all users. This is just right now in pre-launch, so it's just getting started. So I'm quite bullish on all their projects they have going on. Now, here's something interesting as well. Binance and Coinbase actually have a very similar amount of active users. And if you go to Business Quant, a site that I use sometimes for a little bit deeper analytics into sites, fundamentally, you can see the increase in verified users here on Coinbase has increased really nicely quarter over quarter. So that's really good to see that. But again, if you actually go to their revenue, you can see, let's actually go down here, revenue by source, I think it was. You can see most of that revenue, actually it's not by source. Yeah, not by source percent, is still coming in from the transaction revenue. So they're trying to get off of that, especially with their Web 3.0 services and their NFT services and all those other things they're currently working on, like custodial trading, for example, as well. So they're trying to wean off of the transaction revenue, but right now it's still primarily their main source. And if you go to the Edgar, so the actual SEC site, go to their recent 10K, you can scroll down here and see this is another place to see their verified users. So this is the exact source where to go to. I just like Business Quant a little bit more because it puts it into nice visual information. Another site I've used from time to time is Simply Wall Street. I'm sure a lot of you guys know about it. Actually, I've even recently become a partner with Simply Wall Street, and I was on a call with their founder and marketing team yesterday. And if you guys want access to this site, 2 weeks, totally free pro account, check out the link in the first pinned comment right below this video. Really good. I enjoy this site. I'm a pro member myself, but they have a fair valuation here of 83.84, and this is a discounted cash flow method, which basically calculates based on revenue coming in. If you want to explore a little bit more on how to get the number, it's not something we're going to talk about in this video, but they have a really detailed account on how they get that number, and then you could even see the documentation into the different steps of the DCF analysis where they get the 83.84. Now, the problem is this is a high growth company, so it's a little bit hard to get that PE, that probably fair valuation. But if you scroll down here, their PE actually right now is fairly low compared to the rest of the industry. So that's actually quite bullish to see something like that. But it definitely feels like there could be a dip in price, especially in this very bear market that we're in below $100. So I think if I really want to start this more or less dividend method, selling covered calls, it might be still a little bit too soon. But if coin dips below $100, I might really start sizing up my full position size and then really edging into that plan to hold for 2, 3, 4 years while selling covered calls constantly on it. If you are more interested in selling covered calls, I will highly recommend this video. I will link somewhere at the top here. I do an interview with one of our community members that focus on selling covered calls and works really well for her, actually. Also, if we come down here to the financial health of this company, they are swimming in cash right now. They have a bunch of assets and very small amount of liabilities. So I really feel like they can weather the storm of a recession, and they don't need capital, which is great because capital is getting more and more expensive. So this is one of those companies that I wouldn't be scared of defaulting. I think the market is just bringing it down in general. Plus, crypto in general has been taking a huge dip. But I think the risk reward on coin fundamentally is getting really, really good. And this is something I just came out with in the NFT market. I made a video about NFTs, but it feels like there's a divergence going on where, let's go back to it, or is it here? The verified users is going up. So the fundamentals of this company are going up. I'm a user myself. I always like what I see going on Coinbase. It is a little expensive, but it's one of the nicer platforms. But anyway, the fundamentals are going up, but the price is going down. So there's a huge divergence going on right now, where eventually there's going to be a really healthy bottom form. Now the trader, the analytic trader is like, this is not a trend I want to jump on, but the fundamental trader or investor in me is like, I really want to get in on this company. So I'm like a little bit torn. And that's again why I'm making this video, to kind of put it out there, let you guys know my thoughts, and then I can start diving into all your guys' opinion. And just going back to the weekly chart on this one, I mean, I feel like this really sums it off, where this sell-off is just ridiculous. It's so hard to say how low is it really gonna go. I wouldn't be surprised if next week or the week after or something like that, we just had another big 10, 20, 30% red candle. It's under $100, and I just feel like my entry, my initial entry right in this like 160 zone was a little bit too soon. So if it does have one of these pop-ups, I feel like it's a little bit of a dead cat bounce. I might close the majority of that position with the intent of rebuying. But again, fundamentally, I really like this company. Price-wise, it still is in a downwards trend, and I don't really want to get aggressive on it yet. But once it starts finding a bottom, I do believe it's going to be one of those companies, one of those 2 to 3 companies that I'm looking for, where I want to accumulate a fat position and then do my selling covered call strategy on top. It's a really passive strategy. First, it really only works and really is a beautiful strategy on a ticker that is nicely trending to the upside. And right now, coin doesn't really meet that criteria. So I think I personally need to be a bit more patient. I need to readjust my position and then just wait, because eventually the market will correct. And there's no point in trying to catch a falling knife, because let's say the market was going to correct today or this week, and it starts crawling back up and goes to the upside, and where starts forming a healthier trend. Yeah, maybe I have a worse entry, but it really doesn't matter, because I don't have to survive, this company going to 80, 60, or God knows how low it's going to go, and I could accumulate as it's on the front side and then start my selling covered call strategy. So I think honestly, it's pretty safe to say if this ticker is under $100, you probably know who's going to be buying it, and that's me. Now, probably the worst thing to do as a trader is try to predict really anything, but you know what? Let's all try to predict something. Leave your comment below. What do you think is going to be the floor on Coinbase? I would love to hear everyone's predictions, and then let's see who gets it right. Also, guys, if you want to follow my portfolio, don't forget tradejournal.co/Winkler. It's written right here. You see it at the bottom. You can see all my portfolios, all my entries and exits, all my posts, and so on and so forth. So that's everything I have to share with you guys today. I hope you found some value in this video. Don't forget to drop a like on the way out if you did. Consider subscribing if you're new. We'd love to have you part of the community. And like always, guys, stay safe and make some awesome trades. Ciao, ciao.